Police nab couple for allegedly selling daughter for 450k. Police in Akwa Ibom State have arrested two suspected child traffickers for allegedly luring a 6-year-old girl and taking her to an unknown destination. The suspects, identified as Christiana Uwem Ibanga and her boyfriend Iyene Etuk Akman, were apprehended in Abuja following an intelligence-led operation. The arrest came after a report was filed on June 15, 2024 by a woman from Afbaha Atai in Ibesipo, a Sultan local government area, who alleged that her daughter had been taken by Ibanga, a resident of Ekamba Nsukara in Uyo. During interrogation, the suspects confessed to selling their own child in May 2024 for 450,000 naira with the help of one savior, Anyedi. They further admitted to conspiring with Anyedi and his wife to traffic the 6-year-old girl, who was later sold in Aba, Abia State, to an unidentified buyer. Police operatives have since extended their search to Aba in an effort to locate the missing child and apprehend the buyer. Authorities assured the public that significant progress has been made and that the perpetrators will soon be brought to justice. The Akwa Ibom State Police Command urged residents to remain vigilant and report suspicious activities to help combat child trafficking in the state. Okay, sir, Mr. Dengwi Daniel, on this story, we have a story where child trafficking, basically, and I think it's something that we've had over time in our space, in our country, Nigeria. What are your thoughts on child trafficking? Why do you think people engage in such acts?
Thank you very much. So when it comes to child trafficking, so I feel like for every action that we have, right, or every action that we make, there's a particular reason for each of the actions that we make. So we can also relate that to our personal lives as well. So when it comes to child trafficking, the sole aim of child trafficking is basically to get money, right? Yes, to get money. So, and then looking at the amount, 450,000, it's not even worth it to sell a 6-year-old child. Now, looking at the story, we can see that the couples, right, are from Akwa Ibom State, right? And then this child was sold in Aba, and then they were now apprehended in Abuja. So we can see how far it went for just 450,000 naira. Because looking at the situation right now in the country, right, 450,000 naira would not even go a long way for selling a child with so much potentials, and then you're selling a child for 450,000. So personally, what I think about child trafficking is those involved in that act should be apprehended by the police, you understand? So it's to serve as a lesson to others who have the intentions of going into child trafficking.
Exactly. So, okay, thank you very much. So on this issue of child trafficking, this child was sold for 450,000 naira, which, like you said, is not even enough to, or will not be enough to carry whoever it is that was involved in that act. Is it that the government is not doing enough when it comes to making provisions for citizens? Because, I mean, anyone who would dive into such an act obviously does not have the required resources to maintain or sustain himself as an individual. So can we say that the government has a role to play in all of these issues that we face in our country?
Definitely, yes. I totally agree with you that the government has a role to play when it comes to handling child trafficking. Do you understand? So basically, I would say that the government needs to provide more resources. Now, when I talk about resources, I'm talking about provision of employment, because even for those who are employed, let me use the teachers for example. Now, the teachers are being paid, let's say 25,000 to 30,000 thereabout, depending on the school, the level of qualification. Yes, level of qualification. And then looking at 35,000 and 40,000 naira in this present economy, where fuel is 1,000 plus, and then if you go to the market, you understand that tomatoes is something else, pepper is something else, and a whole lot of other commodities are something else. So 35,000 to 40,000, as the case may be, is not even enough to sustain teachers. So you won't blame these people when they venture into human trafficking, because at the end of the day, if you look at the story, you're not being told how the child, if originally how the child was gotten, if the child was adopted and all of that. So we cannot really say. But looking at this now, 450,000, it's what they need at the moment, but in the long run it's not going to suffice for whatever challenges that they would have. So talking about the role of the government now, the government should provide social amenities now, which is provision of employment is very key in handling human trafficking. Now if you go out on the streets, you see a lot of unemployed graduates. You understand? And then even the parents, some of them are out of jobs. If you go to the market, sales is no longer moving because people don't even have the money to purchase these commodities. So once you go to the market, you see that most of them are just idle because
and so this gives people the reason to whatever it is, whatever the next thing that they see that could work, they just dive into it irrespective of the circumstances involved. Or
some of them, they just want to, they just want to do whatever it takes to make ends meet, right? So I'm not saying that is good. It's wrong. It's entirely wrong. So the government has a major role to play when it comes to ensuring that there's a reduction in human trafficking.
Okay, but are there some institutions put in place, or what do you think can be done to curtail this child trafficking? Probably on the side of the parents, what do they have to do? Because oftentimes I believe that if these children are to be in the custody of their parents and their parents are looking after them, a lot of them will not be found in such a situation. It's possible that the parent of that child may have left the child at home to go to work, or it's also possible that it was done. The story doesn't tell us where exactly or how exactly it happened. It's also possible that the child was kidnapped on the way from school or anything of that sort. But talking about parental care generally, what do you think parents can do better to safeguard the lives of their children?
Okay, so what parents can do better to safeguard the lives of their children? So I do not subscribe to parents who have help.
Okay.
Do you understand? So it has its advantages and then it has its also disadvantages. But looking at it, the disadvantages are more because when the parents go out, so if the parents are working class, for example, and then they go out, or they are entrepreneurs or however the case may be, and then they go out and then they leave their kids with the help, right? So whatever they are paying the help might not be enough. Do you understand? Because as a lady, for example, as a help, which is a lady, right? So the lady has to get deodorants, has to get a lot of things and all of that. So the 10,000 might not go a long way for this help. And then they now start thinking about, okay, how can I make extra funds and all of that? So they now want to, think of a way of maybe giving that child out to someone, and then they now sell and then get money and all of that. So I feel that the parents should have time for their children, which is very important. No matter how busy their schedules are, they should look at how they can manage their schedules and then also manage parental care for their children.
You mentioned that you do not subscribe to having helps in the house. So in a situation where you're married and then of course you have a job that you're doing, and then you go to the office, and then your wife also goes to the office, who's going to take care of a child? Or would you rather have your wife stay back at home and look after the kids? Are you the kind of man that will say, okay, no, I'll be giving my wife a monthly allowances or salary, I don't want her to work, just stay back and take care of the kids? Are you that kind of, or would you be that kind of a husband? Or would you
Okay, so just like the Bible said that the woman is
the helpmate.
A helpmate, right? So I do not like the idea of my wife, for example, being at home, right? So I believe that just like the Bible has said, she's a helpmate. So if I go out to cater for the family, she as well should also go out to cater for the family too.